All right. Jaya Radha Madhuva Punnabhikahute Jaya Radha Madhuva Mopidana Malaba Giribaradari Asuranandana Rajajanarandana Sudananda Rajajanarandana Yamuna Tera Manachare Yamuna Tera Manachare Jairangu Madhava Punnabhikahute Jayurad Madhuva Punnabhikahute Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravatikacharya, also Teta Sitashi Shiva, His Divine Grace Sabaya Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantagoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sidwaita Gadadha Srivasti Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopagovana Sai Mukunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Machuradam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Manamai Ki Jai Shrimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Gaur. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premananda. Namaham Vishnu Padaya. Krishna Pristaya Budle Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaur Vadi Pacharni Devashesha Shunyavadi. Pasyachya Jai Shatari Jai Shishi Radha the Kanta Shishi Gornatai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Radhi Ki Jai. Okay. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 12th chapter, text 13. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Everybody have it? No, you don't have it. Ataga Namabhyapatan Mahasuras Tesham Sukha Kridana Vikshana Shamaha Nityam Yad Antar Nija Jivitek Subi. Yeah, Jivitek Subi. Vitam retire Api Amarai Pratik Shite Ataga Nama Vyapatan Mahasuras Nama Vyapatan Mahasuras Tesham Sukha Kridana Vikshanakshamah Vikshava Nityam Yadantar Nija Jivite Sube Pitam Ritar Apyamarai Pratikshate Ataganama Vyapatan Mahasuras Tesham Sukha Kridana Vikshanakshama Nityam Yadantar Nija Jivite Sube Vitamritar Apyamarai Pratikshate Athaganama Vyapatan Mahasuras Tesham Sukha Kridana Vikshanakshama Nityam Yadantar Nija Jivite Sube Vitamritar Apyamarai Pratikshate Athaganama Vyapatan Mahasuras Tesham Sukha Kridana Vikshanakshama Nityam Yadantar Nija Jivite Sube Vitamritar Apyamarai Pratikshate. Okay, we'll do the word by word synonyms now. Ata, thereafter. Aganama, a very powerful demon by the name Aga. Abhyapatat, appeared on the spot. Maha Asura, a greatly, extremely powerful demon. Tesham, of the coward boys. Sukha Kridana, the enjoyment of their transcendental pastimes. Vikshana Akshama, being unable to see, he could not tolerate the transcendental happiness of the coward boys. Nityam, perpetually. Yat anta, the end of the life of Agasura. Nija jivita ipsubi, just to live undisturbed by Agasura. Pita amritai api, although they drank nectar every day. Amarai, by such demigods, pratikshate, was also being awaited. The demigods were also awaiting the death of the great demon Aghasura. So, translation, my dear King Parikshit, thereafter there appeared a great demon named Aghasura, whose death was being awaited even by the demigods. The demigods drank nectar every day, but still they feared this great demon and awaited his death. This demon could not tolerate the transcendental pleasure being enjoyed in the forest by the coward boys. So we're just going to the purport now. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. One may ask how Krishna's pastimes could be interrupted by a demon. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura answers this question by saying that although the transcendental pleasure being enjoyed by the coward boys could not be stopped, unless they stopped the transcendental pleasure of their various activities, they could not eat their lunch. Therefore, at lunchtime, Aghasura appeared by the arrangement of Yogamaya, so that for the time being, they could stop their activities and take lunch. Changing varieties are the mother of enjoyment. The coward boys would continuously play, then stop, and then again enjoy in a different way. Therefore, every day a demon would come and interrupt their sporting pastimes. The demon would be killed, and then the boys would engage again in their transcendental pastimes. So again, the verse, Ataganama Vyavatanma Suras Tisham Sukakriti Danavikshanakshama Nicham Yarantar Nija Jivite Psubi Pitam Retire Up Yamarai Pratikshate. So Omagana Timiranda Shah Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshur Unmiritam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaha. So, several points here that Prabhupada mentions in the purport is that this demon is actually doing service for the coward boys. Not only are they enjoying the whole pastime of seeing the demon killed, of course, they didn't really see the demon because they were in the mouth, but enjoy the pastime being saved by Krishna. But the demon performs a function of making a break in the pastime, so there's another pastime that can take place after that. So the one pastime that's mentioned here is the pastime of what? Prasadam, taking prasadam. So the demon is basically like the alarm clock who's saying it's time for another pastime. So on many different levels, the demon is performing functions in the pastime of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, as far as ourselves are concerned, you can put it in a cup. So a cup is actually better when you're giving class. As far as we are concerned, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, excuse me, in both the Chaitanya Shikshamrita and the Krishna Samhita, talks about the different demons and how the demons are related, excuse me, to anarthas, or unwanted things, because anarthas are impediments in our devotional service, right? Like lust, anger, greed, illusion, envy. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he lists 20 different anarthas, which is interesting. And actually, he relates these to the demons, the different demons in Braj pastimes, which I'm not going to go through the whole list right now. But especially Aghasura represents someone who's really envious and violent and wants to cause trouble to others, and he's cruel, like someone in the material world who is killing animals, torturing people, abusing children, for example, in the Vedic culture, there's several different classes of entities that need to be protected. So someone who's abusing any of those classes is actually a demon. anyone who is abusing women, children, old people, cows, Brahmins, like that. You understand? So this is very important. So Aghasura is there trying to abuse children. He's a child abuser. So, in other words, this represents one of the offenses or nartas against the holy name. And it also represents, in addition to the commission, okay, there's two words, commission and omission, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We just mentioned commission, committing all these abuses. But the omission of not helping others when you can't help others. It's interesting, isn't it? The omission, specifically, he mentions the omission of being unwilling to give others Krishna consciousness. And of course, that's called a kripana. Yeah. And Prabhupada would sometimes compare it to a very wealthy person who sees people suffering and they're unwilling to help others. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he was visiting the holy Dham, Braj, and also Mayapur, sometimes his disciples would be unwilling to give something to the people who were begging. And they were thinking, we're devotees and they're just beggars. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told them, basically, your heart is very hard, becoming hard by not helping other people. Okay, so this is a very interesting point about Aghasura, how we need to look and see the Aghasura in our own hearts, especially insofar as the offense of omission. Omission means not doing something. Commission means doing something, not giving out Krishna consciousness when we have the ability, or misleading people, engaging others, or engaging devotees in not only sinful activities, but in activities that are counterproductive to Krishna consciousness. For example, if you say to the devotees today, the devotees of the temple today, we're going to take you all to see the latest movie or something like that. Or to see a cricket game. Yeah. You may think, cricket. All right, I have nothing against cricket. But, or a baseball game, let's use an American example, so we don't offend any of you.
So now it is very famous in America also, cricket.
Cricket is very famous, right? So you take all the devotees in the temple, to go see a cricket game or something like that. But you're engaging them in Krishna's illusory energy. In one sense, Prabhupada defined violence not only in terms of corporal or physical violence, but he said violence means, this is one definition Prabhupada get, to impede a living entity's spiritual progress. So if you would do something, or you take people to some restaurant, just like sometimes devotees in the name of distributing prasadam would go out and buy vegetarian food. That they think, we should have a nice picnic or something like that. So they go out and buy vegetarian frankfurters. That's all right. You can just put the cup there. That's fine. There. It's fine. It's water. Krishna. Dhanyavad. Thank you. So sometimes, devotees will do things in the name of spreading Krishna consciousness that actually engage people in Krishna's illusory energy. And that's, it's like innocent type of violence. It's not commission, it's omission. You understand the difference? So we have responsibility. We've been given this greatest gift, so we have this responsibility to distribute it. And if we don't, we're sort of acting in the footsteps of Aghasura. So that's one point. Okay? So then as far as Aghasura's family history. This is interesting. I was just reading from Bhaktivinoda Thakur's. Yesterday, I was reading from the Krishna Samhita and from the Chaitanya Shikshamrita, which are beautiful books by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I have these translations given to me by my godbrother Banu Maharaj. You know Banu Maharaj? Great devotee. I mean, he's super intelligent. He's translated, I think, hundreds of books from Bengali.
He translated the original books of Nectar of Devotion.
Yeah, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He translated Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. In the evening, we have this online class in the Jaiva Dharma that he translated. I mean, it's just like, anyway, all glories to Banu Maharaj. So anyway, so I've been reading these two books. It's very inspiring. And so part of these books, both of the books, describe these demons. And I found that Agasura's pastime was quite interesting. He also had the name Aga in his previous life. And he was the son of this demon, Shakatasura. But his problem was that he was very beautiful. Now we know there are several impediments, according to Queen Kunti, the spiritual life, you know, Janmaishvarya, isn't it? Shrutashra Shivir, Edamana, Adapuma. When they have a good birth, just like some of you may be born in a Brahmin family. I don't know if any, I'm sure some of the devotees here had Brahmin families, isn't it? So you just look down upon the other devotees. And like, you know, everyone's all right, here's a practical point. Everyone's a Brahmin here, yet the altar was dirty. You understand? The Singasana was dirty. So everyone was too Brahminical, so we had to import another Brahmana from the country of Alachua, who humbly came by bus. You understand? He took was it Greyhound? Greyhound bus, 17-hour bus to serve the devotees of the deities here. You know, so this is a real Brahmin actually. What is a Brahmin? Samadhamat Pakshocham Shanti Rajavam Evacha. Jnana Vijnanam Astikyam, right? Brahma Karma. So Bhavajam, someone who's tolerant and all these other qualities. Equal poise, tolerant. So he takes a bus. Not only does he take a bus, but he arrives here at 2 o'clock in the morning, and there was no taxis, no Hare Krishna taxis. He could have taken an Uber, but that would have been like $10,000 at that time in the morning, something like that. So he walks all the way from the bus terminal to here to clean the Singasana that everybody was too Brahminical to clean. Isn't it? Prabhupada actually chastised the devotees like that in India for thinking they were too good to do different things, you know. Now that I'm a Brahmin, I don't do any of these things. So this is Janma, you know, not just Janma, but, you know, Brahmin. But he's Brahmin, he's Prabhupada disciple, right? Prabhupada disciple, Brahmin. Served Prabhupada temple president. He was temple president here before. And he did this. So one becomes very proud sometimes when you get this Brahmin thread. The interesting thing is that doesn't usually happen to Americans. It's something that happens to people in India and also in South America too. I remember I was in charge of a temple in South America for several years. And as soon as someone got Brahmin initiation, they were everyone else's boss. It happens in India, doesn't it? Yeah. And then if you were initiated 10 seconds after me, you're my junior godbrother. And I get priorities very much. But Hare Krishna. But in Krishna consciousness, we're actually servants of all the Vaishnavas and of course the deities. What is that teaching of Lord Chaitanya? Vaishnava Seva Jivadoya Vaishnava Seva, isn't it? Namaruchi. So, so I really appreciate Digpal's like fantastic example of lack of purity. I'm not like of purity, and showing us what a Brahman is. Prabhupada said Brahman means what? Suchi, clean. So anyway, that's one point. Little political statement. So, which no one will listen to because no one's here right now. Very few people are here. So anyway, so you can convey that information. So Janmayishvarya and wealth. You find that, even devotees, after some time, driving a taxi, they get very wealthy. And then they don't come to the temple as much. Isn't that true? Janmayishvarya, Shrutasha, someone who's very intelligent, or Shivir, which means beauty. And then that was the case of Agasura. So he was very proud on account of his beauty. And when you're very proud on account of your beauty, you look down upon other people, right? So he looked down upon the sage Ashtavakra Muni, who was bent in, it's called Ashtavakra, Ashta means 8. So Ashta bends in 8 places. There's a whole story about that, why that happened, which I'm not going to tell right now. And he said he's disfigured. And he said, "Ooh, he's ugly." So when someone's like very attractive, you look at someone else and say, "They're ugly." And so the sage cursed him to become the ugliest snake on the earth. And then naturally, all these different stories are very interesting about the demons. And then what happened? And then he bowed. Obviously, he gets upset when he's cursed. And he bows down to the sage. And the sage blessed him, "Yes, you become an ugly snake, but you're going to be killed by Krishna." So that's how he became a Gasura. It's a very interesting story about this demon. So I was also thinking when I read this verse yesterday, what is a demon? What does it mean to be a demon? Because Prabhupada uses this word quite often. And in the Western world, if you hear the word demon, it pretty much means someone with fangs coming out of their mouth and a tail and everything. I mean, it means something different, I think, in India. Maybe it does. But, I think I think all around the world, demon means the same thing. It means someone who's just like demoniac. Like sometimes people who are into conspiracy theories in America, they claim that all the politicians, they're lizards or demons or something. Like, you heard this? They're really like this paranoia conspiracy theory. And they take pictures of them and they say, "Oh, it looks like a lizard." But that's not really what a demon is. I mean, you can have, just like that Vritrasura. He looked demoniac, but he wasn't really a demon, right? He was a pure devotee, and he wasn't a demon. So you can't tell by looks. Someone may have like horns on his head, a forked tail, and he may not be a demon. So what is a demon? I'm going to refer to the chapter 16 in the Bhagavad Gita, which actually describes what is a demon. And some of the words: pride, someone who's proud, arrogant, conceitful, angry, harsh, and ignorant. It's one definition. Another definition is Pravatim cha nivatim cha janana vidur asara. It means the demons have no idea what's right, what's wrong, or they come up with their own ideas of what's right or wrong. They don't have proper behavior. They're not clean. That's pretty interesting. Like to leave the Singasana dirty like that. I'm not saying this person, anyone's a demon. But, it's just like Prabhupada would get very upset. Another quality of a demon is they say that everything comes about by chance. And that's actually one of the verses in Bhagavad Gita. The world is unreal. No God is in control. Produce sex desire, evolution. That's evolution, sex desire, evolution, survival of the fittest and all that. And no other cause than lust. in the material world. And that's really what evolution is, you know, that living entities combine, that's lust, and then the genes combine, and there's mutations and everything like that. It's put in a scientific context. And another definition of a demon is without intelligence, they create horrible works meant to destroy the world. In other words, they create bombs, you know, like the atom bombs and everything like that, which Prabhupada says was predicted in the Bhagavad Gita. And more information about demons. So, you know, so you can actually identify what an actual demon is. So insatiable lust, false prestige, unclean work, attracted to impermanent things, and that they think that the gratify the senses is the goal of life, and therefore they have so many anxieties, because you can never gratify the senses, wants to attain more and more wealth. So, you know, so much more wealth is mine today. Here's my enemy, I have killed him. I'm perfect, powerful, happy, you know, Ishwaraham, Aham Bhogi, Siddhoham, Malavan Sukhi, like that verse goes. Deluded by wealth and false prestige, performing sacrifices for material purposes, in name only, just to impress people. False ego, pride, lust, etc. I think you get all these things. So, and then ultimately they succumb to the three gates leading to hell: lust, anger, and greed. So, I mean, these are different definitions or qualities of a demon. So, using that quality, those different definitions, we can actually identify the demons in our own heart. You know, it's one thing to go out and just point to people, you know, you're a demon, which can be sometimes offensive. And actually, if we're preaching Krishna consciousness, we should see people as what? Our brothers and sisters. And we're reminding them about Krishna. And they may be engaged in activities that are demoniac, but ultimately they're devotees. Jivera Swarupohi Nitya Krishna Das. But in our own hearts, we should see these qualities. And the solution is, to counter these qualities, is Krishna Katha. Nivrittatar Sharvadimana Pavokshala Shotra Mano Biramat Kautama Shloka Gunanavada Puman Vidajetu Na Poshinat. Engaging in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. And somehow or other that will get rid of the demonic propensities that we have, and will actually help others when they're exposed to the hearing and chanting of the Lord's glory. So we'll keep it short. So any questions or comments? Yes.
Actually, yesterday, I had some questions.
Okay, what you ask?
That is a little confusing. That text was saying so many microbes, so many bacteria.
Yeah, in this room, in our body.
My question is that, like a pure devotee.
Yeah.
So some microbes also inside.
Yes. Otherwise, he can't digest.
Yeah. The thing is that the pure devotee going back to the body.
Yeah, but he doesn't take his body with him.
Oh, so. But they have a chance to.
Oh yeah, I mean anybody. I would imagine that any microbe within the Lord's and within the pure devotee's body is getting benefited. I would imagine that to be the case, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they're hearing. It's described. In works of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. About the holy name. In several places he writes about this. He says even the inanimate living entities, when they hear the vibration, you know, there's an echo or something like that. Harinam Chintamani, it's mentioned in there. When they hear the echo, or when they hear the holy name and there's some sort of echo or bouncing the sound vibration off of their bodies, then they make spiritual progress. So even the entities in trees, I mean, you go up to a tree and chant to a tree, and then the tree is actually getting benefited spiritually. So I would assume that the bacteria in everybody in the pure devotee's body, although I haven't read about it, I can't give a Shastric reference, I would assume that there is benefit based upon, you know, the information we have in Shastra. Yeah, so in other words, when you engage in devotional service, you're benefiting all the living entities in your body too. I mean, it's a practical thing. So, any other questions?
And as the talking about the demon part, demonic mentality, actually, since we are practicing Krishna consciousness, sometimes we see in our
Hearts.
hearts. So only the way to get rid of that thing is to engage in holy name or the service of the Lord.
That's interesting. Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about this. He gives 18 of the anarthas that are gotten rid of by Krishna's mercy. But 2 you have to work harder on. And the ones you have to work harder on are the ones related to the demons killed by Balaram. That you have to do, really work. I mean, you have to be aware and introspective of all these anarthas and control them. Because even in the beginning stage, as we find in the Upadeshamrita, these anarthas will still be there, but at least you can control them. Once it's Vacho Vegam, Manasakroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udara Pashta Vegam, that you'll have the pushing of the tongue, belly, genitals, mind, anger, and words, but you control them. It says one is able to tolerate them. But one's a pure devotee, one is not subject to those things anymore. So, in other words, there has to be some endeavor. But specifically, Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about the demons that were killed by Balaram, like Palambasura and Dhanakasura. And those demons represent the anarthas that require more effort on the individual devotee's part. It says the other anarthas, Krishna, Hridyantaksto, Yavadrani, Vidunoti, Saritsatam. Krishna in the heart will actually wipe out. You just engage in chanting. In other words, if we find ourselves like this anartha of Agasura, envious, proud, and everything like that, if we find ourselves with that, we should pray to Krishna to eradicate that from our heart. I mean, I can't think of how to get rid of envy without praying to Krishna and having Krishna get rid of it, isn't it? I mean, I'm envious. Let's say I'm envious of you, but you're so young and handsome. So I can't get rid of it. I can work at it. I can tolerate it. I can not say anything about it. But, I have to really get into Krishna Katha. Hridyantaksto, Yavadrani, Vidunoti, Saritsatam. Isn't it? Srinvata Swakata, Krishna Punishravana Kirtana. Okay, you have a question?
Yes. Previous times, you say, since you were saying,
Yeah.
The years were different.
That's right.
And then later the same. Now you were the same time.
Yeah.
So what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, because we have this divine. Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's a very good point. Because they were different. I mean, the Pandavas were devotees, and then you actually had demons. They were obvious demons, and they had to be killed. It's described that sometimes in Kali Yuga, not that every Brahmin is a demon, but that just like in the previous Yuga, the demons took birth in Kshatriya families. In this Yuga, it's described that many demons take birth in Brahmin families. But really, the point I was making, we all have this demon inside. Lust. I mean, who could say that they haven't been greedy at some point or wanted something that's, Ishabashamidam Sabam Yachit that actually wasn't their quota. Who can say that? Who could say they weren't lusty? Who can say lust, anger, they weren't angry or envious? So these are all indications of demoniac qualities. And we have to be alert when these, and pray to Krishna when they come. I mean, I don't have another solution to get rid of these anarthas other than Krishna. Krishna Katha, Srinvata, again, Srinvata Swakata, Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. Okay, then we should end. Hopefully they'll have the air conditioner working by tonight. Because you fill the temple room up. Yeah, some fans, because you're going to fill the temple up with 200 people. It's going to be unbelievably hot and muggy in here. Yeah. Or something. I mean, you got to get the air conditioner working by tonight, somehow or other. I know